Topic 13 also includes supplier certification. There's a lot of ways you can apply this as a company, and also how companies might apply it to you if you're a supplier to another company. So there's a lot of potential certification candidates if you look at the leverage and the critical boxes. So we're looking at the volume or cost of materials, or the importance of the category. So the more important it is, the more you want your suppliers to provide it at a high quality for your needs, right? You don't want to have bad product come to you for your processes. So here's a simple certification process. So we have an approved supplier. So we're going to do an audit on them. And we have several things here, like, tell them about the standards. Do they meet the standards? Measure the standards. If they don't meet a standard, work with them to get them to understand the standard. And evaluate their performance. So once we evaluate their performance, we can say, okay, well, you've delivered 5 deliveries with no problems. So now we're going to do what's called direct or dock to stock. So it comes off the truck and goes right into the stock with no further inspections. But however, if there's a problem found, you might kick it back to being inspected. So if you inspect them for another 5 shipments and there's no problem, you can bring them back into the dock to stock program. Or if they failed that 5, you might want to talk to them and do some continuous improvement here. You should always be doing continuous improvement, but when you find a problem like this, you need to communicate it so they can fix it. And you continuously do audits. Now you're not doing audits, every month. You might do an audit once every year or once every 6 months, however your company decides to do it. And if they're not doing supplier audits, they might want to start considering doing that. So here's some benefits on all sides. So a win-win when there's supplier certifications. So you're shifting the responsibility for quality to the source, the actual supplier. They need to make sure they have a good quality product that they're sending to you. You don't like bad quality products, so you don't want to have them. And if your goal is to have a dock to stock quality performance where there's no problems and you just want to keep it moving. Well, there's a lot of buyer benefits. So for you as a supplier, you're getting high quality parts from your supplier, and you're developing a better relationship with that company, your supplier. Lower transaction costs, it's going to cost you less because you're not having to add into the inspections or putting it in a holding so you can't move that material out until it's inspected. And you're going to simplify your receiving. Like I said, it's not going into a special area to be inspected. It's just going straight into where it needs to be stored, so that way someone can grab it when it's needed. On the supplier side, so they have access to the buyer's expertise. So when you do an audit, you're bringing your knowledge to them too. You're not just taking from them. They can get a preferred status. And what preferred status means to them or to your company, depends on what you guys determine it is. Maybe you guys pay the bill within 30 days instead of 60 because it's a preferred supplier. However you determine it. And larger volumes and future contracts, you might actually seek them out as a supplier for another product that you need, so they can get more business, which in turn hopefully would make them more money. And then it's a marketing tool too. So for example, if you say you're a supplier for Amazon, people are going to start looking at your company because you supply Amazon. Everybody knows Amazon, everybody knows Walmart, some other big names. So if you can say that you supply these big companies, people are really going to say, oh wow, I want to talk to you, right? So how do we achieve this excellence? Well, you need to have established goals. You can call them benchmarks, you can call them metrics, whatever. They just need to be available to measure against. And when you're measuring against it, you want to give feedback. Tell your supplier, hey, your deliveries are coming in late. We need to get this fixed. Or, hey, your deliveries are on time. We really like that. So you actually give them feedback so they can make corrections as things go forward. That's where the improvement is. That feedback helps them improve, so that way you don't need to keep talking to them about that thing. You can just say, hey, we like what you're doing, keep it up. Something as simple as that can mean volumes for them. And provide recognition. You might say, hey, we have this supplier recognition program. You can get gold status if you keep up the hard work, or you can get silver status or bronze or whatever levels your company decides. So these things can definitely help. So we have John Deere information here. So they actually break down their suppliers into partner, key, approved, and conditional. So by doing that, they can actually rate their suppliers based on these categories over here: quality, delivery, cost management, technical support, and what they call wavelength of their relationship. So a new company might come in as approved, let's say, but if they drop down to conditional, the Deere company might be trying to find your replacement, because it says right here that possible candidate for removal from the John Deere supply base. That means you might be cut as a supplier of John Deere. But if you're on the other end of the spectrum, partner, you're exceeding their performance standards. Reached world-class levels and measurable effects on the satisfaction of the customers. So the supplier knows that their good quality products are making a difference with the customers. The customers notice. So how do we make sure their quality is there? Well, there's an international standard called ISO 9000. So here is a chart of the ISO companies, or ISO and the countries. So on the right here we have like China with 337,000 ISO 9000 companies. If we look down the list, we see the United States with only 34,000. Well, this might be because China is essentially the manufacturing capital of the world. So when you're looking to have a product made, you want that level of quality, so you might be looking for the ISO 9000 certification. If that's the case, you shouldn't settle for anything less. So we've talked about a lot of how we can rate our suppliers and encourage our suppliers here. But how do we prove that the quality is good? And how can we help them figure out where the problems are in their quality? So we have this as a tool, which we'll be talking about next.